Hey fam, what's up? I decided to do a video today specifically for Dale because I realized the last time when I put up my homemade Seitan, I didn't really give a recipe or show how I made it. And it came out so well, I'm making another batch. And I decided to videotape this one so that if anyone decides that they want to make their own homemade Seitan, I can show you how easy it is. While it is easy and it uses very few ingredients, it is time intensive because you spend a lot of time waiting around for glutens and such to develop. So without further ado, let's get started. So how do we make homemade hand stretched or hand washed Seitan? Well, like I said, you only need 3 ingredients. You need flour and water. You combine your flour, you take your water, got the flour already in here. This is about 4.5 cups or 600 grams of flour, and this is a cup and a half of cool or cold water, or room temperature, however you like it. You just pour that in there, like so. And you put it in your stand mixer and you put it on low and you let the stand mixer do the work. Now, if you don't have a stand mixer, you can go ahead and do this the old-fashioned way by just kneading it, but just keep in mind that you need a lot of elbow grease to do that. You got to do that for about 10 or 15 minutes until it comes together into a nice, smooth, springy ball. And then when it comes to that point, we'll come back and I'll show you the next step in our Seitan making process. So hang in there. And we're back. Kind of adjust the camera there. And the machine has done its thing and we have our ball of springy dough, slightly sticky. So the next thing that we will do now is to cover this with some cool water and we let it sit for about 1 hour to 2 hours. I'm gonna let it sit for 2 hours because I think that makes it a little bit more chewy. I don't know, that's just my belief. It probably has nothing to do with it whatsoever. But anyway, so we're gonna come back after 2 hours and then we'll incorporate our third ingredient, which is broth. So you can use any broth you want, but I'll show you how we use this in the next section. So hang in there and we'll be right back. And we're back. So our dough has been resting in water for 2 hours. We'll just pan the camera down so you guys can see what's going on in here because the rest of the work will be done in the sink. So this is what it looks like. So oops, just made a mess. Okay, ball of water in dough in water. So now what we're gonna do is empty out the water. Careful not to drop the dough into the sink. And now comes the fun part. This is where we get to wash the gluten out of the dough. So how we do that, we put some fresh water in there and make sure it covers over the ball of dough. And this is when we get to get a little bit of a workout. So we wash like so. And we keep doing this. And what's gonna happen, you're gonna see that the water is gonna turn white. So we're gonna have to like drain out this water several times. You know, you can use a colander or a strainer like I'm using here. And putting fresh water. And the aim is not to get the water clear, but to be just as lightly cloudy instead of white as it's gonna be in the first couple of washes. So you do this process until we get to the water being just slightly cloudy, and then from there we'll go to the next step. So hang in there. So we're back. We're pretty much in the final rinsing stage. You see the water is cloudy as opposed to the white right now. So a few more squeezes. See, still cloudy, not white. So this is the consistency that we're looking for. So the next step is to drain it out one last time. And this is what we have left. Looks stringy, right? So what we're gonna do is another waiting stage of the game. So we're gonna rest. We're gonna squeeze out as much of the water as we can, as I'm doing right now. And we're gonna rest this for 20 to 30 minutes. As usual, I like to go the longer of the range, longer end of the range. So I'm going to let this rest for 30 minutes and then we'll come back for the next step in the process. Hang on there. Okay fam, we're back after our 30-minute resting of our seitan. It's been a bit more than 30 minutes, but you know, the longer the better. So this is the ball that we have now. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna stretch this out to about a foot. As you guys can see, it's very stretchy. That's all of that beautiful gluten that has been developed. So you're gonna stretch it out about like so. And now you guys can see what I'm doing. This is kind of on the way, okay? Then what we're gonna do is take our knife and we're gonna make like 3 little slits into our gluten ball here. They don't have to be exact and they don't have to be pretty. Just, you know, what we're gonna be doing is braiding this. So you see I didn't cut all of the way through to the top, just enough to like keep it together so that it'll be easier to braid. So let me see if I remember how to do this stuff. So one here, like so, like so, like so, like so. And we have something resembling somewhat of a braid. So now this one, we're gonna rest again for 5 minutes or so, and then we're gonna come back, stretch it out, tie a couple of knots in it, and then put it in our simmering broth. By the way, I've put the broth on the stove under low heat so that it can simmer and get ready for when we're ready to put this into the pot for the final stage of making homemade seitan. All right, stay tuned. So we're back. Our little braid has been resting for about 5 minutes or so. So now what we're gonna do, it's very sticky at this point. Whoop. Here goes my parchment paper. It's very sticky to handle, as you can see. But what we're gonna do is try and stretch it out a little bit more, like so. Because what we're gonna do is to tie it in knots. Tie the first knot, like so. And then we can see if we can tie another knot at the end, like so. It's very slippery, as you can see. Tuck that in, and we come to the other end, and we tie a knot here as well. And that is our little seitan loaf that is going to take, let me wash my hands a little bit, a nice bath for 2 hours in a pot of broth. If you have a slow cooker, you can put it in a slow cooker. Just make sure you've been simmering your broth for a few minutes and then pop it in there. Make sure it's covered. Let's see if I can take my phone with me. 1 second. Yeah, here we go. So grab this, and this is our pot with our broth. So we just gently lay it in there. Whoop. See it's how it's submerged? That's what we want. And then we cover it with a slight vent. And that, my friends, is how you make seitan. This is gonna stay in the pot and simmer for 2 hours, and then afterwards we let it cool down, and then we'll put it in the fridge, cool down even further, and then we can start using it. And when it's ready for use, I'll come back and show you guys how it works and what it looks like. Okay, later, bye. Hi fam. As promised, the seitan is done. It's been in the fridge overnight, so I'm just coming back to show you guys what we have, and you know, shred it up a little bit to show you the texture. So let's go. Here's what we have. So you see it's still in the pot, so we could take a look at what we have. Wow, look at that hunk of wheat meat. Okay, so let's cut into it. You guys see? I'll come down a little bit more. There we go. I'm just gonna cut this into thirds because I'm gonna freeze some and I'm gonna keep some down in the fridge below for use this week. So you see, it cut into that. It's very nice texture. You can see, you can use this as a meat alternative. And this just like shred it up a little bit so we can see what the inside looks like. You guys see that? It's kind of like almost the texture of pulled chicken. So it's moist right now, but when you put it in a pan, I'll show you some example pictures at the end of the video. When you put it in a pan, it dries out very well and it has a nice little chicken-like texture. So you can use this in any way that you would use if you want to saute it or boil it, whatever you want to do with it. So basically what we'll do now is just put it in a glass bowl and cover it with some of the broth from the pot. And this could store in the fridge for a couple days. If you want, you could just like wrap it in plastic wrap and freeze it and take it down whenever you're ready to use it. And that, my friends, is how you make seitan or wheat meat. I hope you found it informative and useful, and go out there and make your own and let me know how it turns out. Okay? Talk soon.